Super Lucky Disaster Man. Chapter 11, Similar Yet Different People. Huh, so that's how it is. Dazai Osamu pressed the earbud with one hand, turned his head and looked at the scenery outside the window without any care. The mafia driver in charge only dared to look at the road, quietly glanced from the rear-view mirror, then quickly withdrew his gaze towards his superior, who was sitting quietly, then just suddenly spoke up with no warning. He did not dare to show a trace of curiosity. However, the driver was also considered to be an experienced person. This situation obviously means his superior is currently eavesdropping. To be able to make Dazai-sama eavesdrops, it must be very important, right? The port mafia has finally settled down. They absolutely do not need another kind of chaos like the Dragon Head's conflict. Just as the driver has guessed, Dazai Osamu was indeed eavesdropping. The target was the misfortune Kudo Shinichi, who had met him. In theory, there is no value in eavesdropping Kudo Shinichi actually, but like how after Dazai Osamu and his friends met at the bar, he suddenly felt that he can meet Komai de Nagito. This time before leaving as well, in a moment of greed he had put a wiretapping device on Kudo Shinichi, feeling that he might hear something interesting. Sure enough, he just left. Not for a moment, Komai de Nagito came. Originally Dazai Osamu just wanted to confirm his hunch, because if you want to research Komai de Nagito, any coincidence and intuition are very useful. As a result, Kudo Shinichi, this kid's curiosity is really strong, indeed a good detective seed. Even after just suffering a setback, his curiosity immediately sprouted again and went to excavate Komai de Nagito's nature. However, the question that Kudo Shinichi asked this time, indeed explained the core reason of Komai de Nagito's strange personality. So that's how it is. Dazai Osamu closed his eyes, the corner of his mouth unconsciously raised into a trace of a smile carrying a sarcastic meaning. A life that changed very quickly and filled with unexpected fate, constantly in the loop of fortunate and misfortune, made Komai de Nagito choose to believe in a kind of unchangeable thing. He took this kind of, will not change, absolutely good thing, and called it, hope. But it's impossible to exist, that kind of thing. Dazai Osamu sighed to himself. Even if it exists, it absolutely won't be easy to be able to encounter. One absolutely has to pay an unimaginable price for it. However, according to Dazai Osamu's understanding of Komai de Nagito, the price is not important. As long as there is a chance, Komai de Nagito will not hesitate even if he sacrifices himself. Dazai Osamu can even see Komai de Nagito's ending. Being toyed with by fate until he was full of injuries, he still resolutely and without wavering found a reason for himself, then like a fantastic believer with enthusiastics and boundless feeling, full of longing, and went towards self-destruction. The day that he and Komai de Nagito had met was like that. It was just that Komai de Nagito failed that time. But even so, even if it was for such a vain goal, Komai de Nagito still exists with a strong will. Compared to the majority of people in the world, especially compared to Dazai Osamu, he fully understood his own purpose of existence. Dazai Osamu wanted to mock, and wanted to laugh out loud. His heart violently jumped bit by bit, dutifully sending blood to every corner of the body, but his head was hit by all kinds of huge emotions that give birth to strange dizziness. His body is more honest compared to himself, as it expresses his restless inner self. In the end, Dazai Osamu just put those complex emotions that he did not want to further understand, and summed them up in one sentence. A bit hateful. Someone similar but different to himself. Kudo Shinichi tightly remembered Dazai Osamu's previous lecture. Even if many ideas were already wanting to overflow, he still did not express anything to Komai de Nagito's beliefs. His attitude towards Komai de Nagito's did not have any change. Although he felt that this kind of unchangeable, absolutely good thing, the short name, Komaida's Hope, was a bit too idealistic, it was very difficult to find a counterpart in reality. But considering that the reason that led to Senpai's belief was the unchangeable past experience, Kudo Shinichi couldn't say anything offensive. Especially considering that Komai de Senpai wanted to see hope in other talented people, together with Senpai's pessimistic view of friends. Thinking deeply in this direction, it feels like there are more problems. Kudo Shinichi felt that it was better for him to delay for a while. Therefore, Kudo Shinichi switched the topic to something harmless. Chatting for a while, it really came to a topic that Kudo Shinichi is interested in. What? Senpai's neighbor is a detective. Kudo Shinichi curiously asked, is he famous? Komaeda Nagito pondered, I think he is very talented, called Ayatsuji Yukido. Ah. I know him. Kudo Shinichi immediately responded, he indeed is very famous, but there is something very strange about him. Komaeda Nagito curiously asked, what? Kudo Shinichi recalled, my father once investigated Ayatsuji-sensei's case file, and discovered that all the murder cases that Ayatsuji-sensei had solved, the criminals would all die, but because they usually die in front of everyone's eyes, sometimes even when beside the police that were preparing to escort them, any way you see it, it was all an accident, there was nothing to argue about, it was just a bit strange. Komaeda Nagito also felt interested in this topic, does this kind of situation happen a lot? Not much, mainly, murder cases are all handed over to the police. If a detective is invited, the only explanation is that they do not trust the police, and the police also have a fixed advisor, such as my father, so from the beginning, Ayatsuji-sensei's murder cases will not be many. Kudo Shinichi shrugged, Ayatsuji-sensei is not only handling murder cases, after all, other criminals are all good, so the death rate of the criminals is not worth mentioning. Also according to my father, because he is a consultant of the Metropolitan Police Department, when reviewing the records, he accidentally discovered that the police are not even aware of this problem. Komaeda Nagito pondered for a moment, skipped this topic, raised a smile and asked, Kudo-kun, do you also want to become a consultant in the future? I want to become a detective like Holmes. Kudo Shinichi firmly said, when the time comes, the Metropolitan Police Department will definitely seek my help. Komaeda Nagito has always been very patient and full of anticipation towards Kudo Shinichi. I believe you can, but to become a detective, you at least want to start from solving a murder case? Kudo Shinichi is indeed outstanding because of his intelligence and talent in elementary school and his 2 years of junior high, but to be considered as a detective, he had to solve a murder case, else what detective would he be? What senpai say is very reasonable. Kudo Shinichi's mouth twitched, but, I'm just a junior high, even if there's this kind of case, it won't come to find me, unless I accidentally encounter it. Komaeda Nagito thought for a moment. A famous detective's fate is to accidentally meet with murder cases, right? Kudo Shinichi. That's what they said. But my luck isn't as strange as you, senpai. Fortunately, their route home isn't completely the same. Once they get here they can separate. Kudo Shinichi doesn't need to continue discussing this kind of strange topic and quietly let out a sigh of relief. Then I'll go this way, how about you, senpai? Komaeda Nagito shook his head. I'll go to the mall over there to buy some things, so I won't need to order a bento box tomorrow. Kudo Shinichi instantly understood, oh, okay, see you tomorrow. After saying goodbye to his kohai, Komaeda Nagito followed his personal habit to go to the supermarket to buy some things, including bread, milk, drinks, snacks, etc., and also bought a water kettle and household fire extinguisher. Because when he wanted to boil water with a kettle yesterday, the power short-circuited, and miraculously set the towel under the kettle on fire, he used up the spare small fire extinguisher, so he now has to buy these two things again. The cashier saw the fire extinguisher and was stunned for a moment. She also didn't know that the mall sold this, and was very shocked, but still calmly scanned the items. Customer, you spent enough XXX yen, if you're interested, you can participate in our mall's lucky draw activity. The cashier reminded, it's on the first floor, just an elevator away. Komaeda Nagito blinked, lowered his head to look at the pricey kettle and the fire extinguisher. So that's how it is. Komaeda Nagito suddenly realized, is it because of this lucky draw? No wonder the good kettle suddenly broke down, it must be because there's something good waiting for him in the lucky draw later. Cashier. Komaeda Nagito didn't care if the cashier was confused, he smiled and said thank you. He went down the elevator after that. Sure enough, the lucky draw location was really visible. The method of drawing luck is very traditional. It is a non-transparent cylindrical small box. Inside are a lot of colorful small balls. Each color corresponds to different rewards. There is a handle outside that can be used to rotate the box until a small ball drops out. The content of the rewards is publicly posted on the countertop. Komaida Nagi To looked. The first name is some island tour. The second is an unknown brand TV. The third is even more strange. It feels like it is full of sponsorship. It seems like this activity is due to a group of sponsors who want to gain some reputations through this method. Seeing through the truth at a glance, Komaida Nagi To does not care. He just lines up normally, then displays his drawing qualification, calmly starts to rotate the handle. More than 10 seconds later, a red small ball slowly dropped out from the small box. It's the first place prize. The person in charge of the lucky draw was an old man. He used an exaggerated tone to congratulate Komaida Nagi To. It's a 3-day 4-night tour group to Reigo Island. Your luck is really too good. I also did not think that someone could draw the grand prize on the first day. Next, the uncle immediately made Komaida Nagi To go to another person to register, then clearly not to the person who won the prize, but to onlookers and said, Reigo Island is a very suitable place for vacation. Everyone, even if you did not draw it, you can still travel there in your free time to try it out. The left side of the board is an introduction of Reigo Island. Interested guests can go and check it out. Komaida Nagi To is very patient with the things that his luck brings him, so after going through a little process, he got the travel ticket. The validity period is approximately 1 year. It is a 2-person group. Based on the accompanying propaganda flyer, eating, lounging, and games are all covered by this ticket. No need to spend extra. It is really just bringing the ticket and enjoying the tour. It can be seen from this that the people who planned this are very sincere. They probably felt that most people in the mall who won the prize qualification will gossip about it with people around them. After all, the range of the mall's drawing is just this one block, but everyone's word of mouth is the best way to spread the news. The cost of this one ticket will quickly be recovered. Komaida Nagi To collected the ticket, thinking if there is a chance he will go and see. However, Reigo Island's name is a bit familiar. It's inconvenient to check his phone while carrying a bunch of things, so after Komaida Nagi To returned home, he went to search for news related to Reigo Island. Searching through the first page of results is the news about missing tourists last month in Reigo Island. Komaida Nagi To also saw this news. It was just that he didn't pay attention to it at the time. This makes sense. Because of this kind of thing, their reputation is damaged. The flow of visitors also decreased. It would be very troublesome for this kind of tourist island if the number of visitors decreased, so now they started to use all kinds of activities to try to recover the number of tourists. The mall must not be the only place they host these kinds of activities. Those people who won free travel quota, even if they have doubts after hearing the news, seeing as it's free, they will waver. Once they experience the fun at Reigo Island and return with positive impressions, they will become advocates for the island, countering any negative comments with their own positive experiences. Komaida Nagi To on one hand analyzes this situation, on the other hand clicks on the news, deciding to take a look at the details of the investigation. The news is not long, because even if it has been a month, there is nothing new discovered. Some people are speculating whether the missing person has already left the island, and simply wants to escape from society. However, the missing person's family interview said that the missing person is absolutely not this kind of person. Something must have happened to them. There is no corpse, and no new clue. The interview police spoke very vaguely, saying that it is meaningless to continue to search for the body on the beach. And their attitude towards whether the person is missing or actively escaping from society is very ambiguous. After all, for Japanese people, it's not uncommon to experience intense pressure, suddenly disappear, and then reappear after some time. After all, Japan has published a book called The Vanished, and it is still very popular. This makes the police's attitude towards this case even more peculiar. If not for the family always being persistent and making a big fuss, they really want to make a verdict early. There are not many details in the news. Komaeda Nagito also can't deduce anything from this. He can only see that the family member is very persistent that the missing person will not disappear for no reason. Something must have happened to them. Komaeda Nagito is a bit interested in this Reigo Island. This is not good. I must return to Yokohama to handle something else. Next week? The week after next. Komaeda Nagito took out the calendar, closed his eyes and randomly pointed, then opened his eyes to look, and found that he had pointed to the next month. Then I'll think about it next month. Komaeda Nagito happily accepted this arrangement. But a ticket for a pair. Is it implying that he needs to invite someone to go with him? Komaeda Nagito, who had a problem with socializing, fell into deep thought. Chapter 11 End. Author's note. Unlike Dazai, Komaeda really have a very clear purpose to exist. Dazai on the surface said he hates it, but in fact, his view towards Komaeda is very complicated. There really is a book called The Vanished, and Reigo Island is also the key word. Super Lucky Disaster Man. Chapter 12, Insurance Company Comes Knock on the Door. Although going as a pair sounds nice, but Komaeda Nagito has never been too willing to actively involve others in his own misfortune, unless he has a purpose. Therefore, who to choose is the question. Komaeda Nagito temporarily put this aside, then as usual started doing homework, finished writing the assignment, then decided to read a book. Ah, I forgot it in Yokohama. What a misfortune. Yesterday, because of the incident on the road, moreover waiting for the cat's owner, those series of events, he became very tired after finishing homework. That's why he fell asleep after bathing. It's until today that he realized that he did not bring the book he wanted to read back to Tokyo. This kind of life running back and forth is very inconvenient, but Komaeda Nagito learned it since childhood, and is already used to it. In elementary school, Komaeda Nagito's father was transferred to Yokohama. Usually to this kind of work change, it is relatively normal for the whole family to rent a house in Yokohama. Compared to buying a house, renting a house is more suitable to frequently transferred. After all, you can't buy a house every time you have a work transfer, right? If you have that much money, then why do you need such troublesome work? In short, although Komaeda's father rents a suitable house for the family to live in Yokohama, but because Yokohama has always been particularly chaotic, for safety, Komaeda's father makes the mother and son live in the rent house in Tokyo, but go to Yokohama for family reunion on days off. Komaeda Nagito's elementary school is Taitang Elementary School, therefore after his parents passed away, he also did not consider transferring or anything like that, studying from Taitang Elementary School all the way Taitang Junior High School, and wait until his third year ends, then he will come to Taitang High School. Just happened at the time his parents died, the landlord in Yokohama saw how the situation in Yokohama was not good, people died every day, so he resolutely sold the house to Komaeda Nagito, so he inherited the habit of returning to Yokohama every weekend. A child living alone is obviously not too suitable for minor laws, but the relatives who were responsible for Komaeda Nagito's guardianship were really afraid of the misfortunes that happened around Komaeda Nagito, and were not willing to come close to take care of him. Fortunately, Komaeda Nagito does not care whether he has the so-called guardians or not, so Komaeda Nagito guarantees that no one will come find the relative because of guardianship problems, and the relative will not interfere in any way with Komaeda Nagito, especially with his property. They will come to each other's door for help only if they need it. Both sides just maintain a tactic distance like that. But it is different over in Tokyo. The landlord will not easily sell the house, because accidents frequently occurred in the house while Komaeda Nagito was renting. Neighbors often complained, forcing him to move houses frequently. Family's belongings that were filled with memories, due to all kinds of accidents, did not remain much. He is used to this kind of thing. It becomes easier and easier for Komaeda Nagito to move. Until this time, when he moved next to Ayatsuji Yukito's office, he only drove a car. There was enough space for the luggage to be in the trunk and the back seat. At that time, just happened to stand by the window to look outside. Ayatsuji Yukito was rarely seen, stunned. Now after discovering that he forgot his book in Yokohama, and all the books in Tokyo were destroyed from the previous fire, Komaeda Nagito thought for a moment, seeing that it's still early, the bookstore he knew should still open, so he decided to go out to stroll the bookstore. As he put on the shoes, opened the door, and immediately discovered a black-clothed man standing right outside, wearing sunglasses. Any way you look at it is obviously a person not easy to provoke. This man wearing sunglasses was about to raise his hand to press the doorbell. Komaeda Nagito suddenly opened the door and startled him. The sunglasses on his nose could be seen jumping a little. "Hello." Komaeda Nagito sized him up a little, revealed a polite smile. "Are you looking for me?" The sunglasses man urgently pushed the sunglasses. "Good evening, I am a member of the Tei Corporation, coming here to find Mr. Komaeda to discuss with you about the matter with the insurance. Can I borrow you for a moment?" Tei Corporation, Japan ranked in the top 3 financial groups. Everyone knows that cutting chives is the thing that all capitalists love to do. Doing insurance, this kind of business, is naturally a part of it. Komaeda Nagito buys more than half of his insurance here. Regretfully, Komaeda Nagito is not a chive that treats money like trash as they have imagined. From the various data, it just seems like Tei Insurance Company is using the cut chives to raise Komaeda Nagito. He gets into trouble so often that the individual who first promoted the insurance policy to his family has admitted their mistake, resigned, and permanently left the insurance industry. This sunglasses man who knocked the door looked very nervous. He looked through all of Komaeda Nagito's information. Moreover, he crazily cursed that senior who had forever left the insurance industry in his heart non-stop. If he had not sold the insurance to the Komaeda family, the company would not have needed to compensate so much. If the company had not compensated so much, then they would not have let him go out to tame this problematic character. But rationally, the sunglasses man also knows, this is not the senior's mistake at all, just simply because Komaeda Nagito, this person, is too evil. Just take this kidnapping insurance policy. First, the insurance fee is not cheap, even when the person directly buy it to 50 years old. This is the cut chive's first step. To stand such a high insurance price to buy a kidnapping policy means that their living environment is relatively dangerous. This person may not even lived until 50 years old and is killed in one of the kidnapping cases. Wouldn't that mean the insurance company has a stable earning? Next, kidnapping this kind of thing would not necessarily happen every year. A person getting kidnapped 2 to 3 times a year would already count as a lot. After all, a person who has a high risk of danger would certainly also have safety consciousness. They will have bodyguards and things like that, so the danger will decrease. And the insurance company will take the money from those who buy directly to 50 years old to do investment or something. The earned income is enough to compensate. Of course, these chives cannot be cut too clearly. If the chives saw that the money it spent was not worth it, then they will not buy the insurance. Therefore, in the quota, the insurance company was very generous. The most special part is that the first time kidnapped every year is the amount on the quota, double the second time, triple the third time. In short, based on a complex formula, it's until the first 4 kidnapped. No more than 5 kidnapped case, this type of analogy. When they pushed out this insurance, it's only a number. When they began to pay for Komaeda Nagito, every time it was a case of failure to write into the company's humiliation pillar. At this moment, the sunglasses man is here to give this legacy's problem an end. Komaeda Nagito knows to listen and give up the plan to go out, inviting the sunglasses man to enter the living room. The sunglasses man sat at the opposite table, putting a pile of documents on the table. Komaeda Nagito looked at this thick stack of papers, and asked, "Let me ask you this for now, is your company planning to persuade me to cancel the contract?" "Of course not." The sunglasses man took a deep breath. "To tell the truth, it's because you were kidnapped 3 times in less than half a year, which is a bit too shocking, so the company sent me to understand the situation. In fact, the shocking thing is not that you were kidnapped 3 times in a year, but that this situation is because of the contract compensation amount. It's really too shocking. It's almost that time every half year where they have to go to the headquarters to conduct a staff meeting, and this performance is really terrible. And the compensation amount is too large, they can't hide nor can they pretend it's a mistake. If this report is handed over, they will definitely be scolded by the superiors until they spit blood, and even a few individuals will be fired. Understand the situation? Komaeda Nagito revealed a confused expression. I thought I presented the documents very clearly. That's right, very clear. The sunglasses man cursed silently. They can see that the person who handed over the documents was very experienced. It wasn't the first time. They couldn't point out any wrong even if they wanted to, otherwise why would the company be so sad? It's because if this continues, they would have to spend a huge sum of money. If they want to avoid this sum of money, according to the company's experience, it's actually possible to think of a way to prove that the kidnapping was self-directed and self-acted, so not only can they avoid compensation, but they can also charge the party involved a sum of money. Of course, for the company's honor, they at most will just take existence of self-directed and self-acted suspicions, evidence here, as a refusal, and won't really let others take the money. When ordinary people see evidence, although they will feel wronged, nothing much will come out of it. At most they will resent it with other people, going online to complain, then endure, because they do not have time to play this game with the insurance company. For a business giant like the Tei Corporation, they very rarely use this kind of method, because they easily have the money to compensate from the start, unless they encounter Komaeda Nagito, this kind of situation. But when they really encountered Komaeda Nagito, Tei Insurance Company did not dare to use this kind of method. Not that they discovered their conscience, but because they have tried it, the result is that all related staff are as if they were cursed. Consecutively incidents happened. Some people go to hospital, some go to jail. Everyone has such a bright future. Because the sunglasses man also know those people's ending, it could be the company inside rumor. That's why he is so careful towards the Komaeda Nagito, who is 20 years younger than himself, afraid that if he says something wrong, and make this cursed teenager angry, causing him to also go earn a sum of insurance fee. Therefore, facing Komaeda Nagito's gentle tone of doubt, the sunglasses man bring up 120,000% spirit, consider each word and sentence to answer. The third kidnapping case is criminal. There are ones who dies, the ones who are alive is in the hands of the port mafia. For how you escape from these people this matter. In the documents you submit there are still some suspicious points. This is really nitpicking. The truth is that he was kidnapped, so he should get the compensation. They don't need to care how he escaped alive. No matter how he listens to it, it sounds like they're implying that Komaeda Nagito and the kidnappers colluded together. But the sunglasses man do not hope Komaeda Nagito have this misunderstanding, so he hurriedly explained, of course, we are not suspecting you, it's just that the scene was blocked by the port mafia. The Yokohama police on the other side also do not have any information. We need some time to confirm this. Just give us another month of time. We are also just being careful, no other intention. That's right. The sunglasses man's purpose is very low. He is just the company representative, hoping this big boss would let them go, at least to make the performance of the first half year seem a little better, because that accursed insurance contract has a set time for compensation. If based on the terms of contract, the first half of the year's performance is absolutely finished. What? You say this is just covering the ears and eyes. If they change to the last 6 months of the year, the same performance will still be terrible. There's no difference? Then you do not understand. What if Komaeda Nagito was kidnapped for the 4th time in the last 6 months of the year? What to do then? Doesn't that mean that a whole year's performance is rotten? In this way, at least the first half of the year's performance is still good. Not only will the person in charge of this insurance group not abandon their job because of this, they will lack a scolding in the headquarters' meeting. Isn't this significantly better? Moreover, perhaps the person in charge of this insurance will be transferred to other places in the last 6 months of the year. At that time this hot potato will be given to other people. This is a really beautiful thought. The superiors will not be scolded out of nowhere, their subordinates can also live a little better. Therefore, this dangerous-looking figure, who will make even Ayatsuki Yukito automatically avoid when seen on the road, at this moment sitting opposite of Komaeda Nagito, sincerely lowered himself, forehead close to the ground. Please sir, please give us a month's time, Mr. Komaeda. Oh. Komaeda Nagito sighed, you really don't need to be like this, please stand up. No. Actually I can roughly guess the reason for this request. Komaeda Nagito interrupted the sunglasses man, expression bored and said. Although I don't care whether I have this compensation money or not, there is no good thing for me to agree with you, moreover wanting me to accept this because of your incompetence. This request is truly draining, I can't believe you can even say it. Moreover, if he easily agrees to this kind of thing, he is afraid that it will leave the insurance company a wrong impression, there will be more trouble in the future, any way you look at it, it's better to do everything orderly. The sunglasses man has no words to say, because what Komaeda Nagito said are all correct. This is considered rejection. No, he should try to fight for a bit more, otherwise when his superiors ask what did he said, and after he explains everything. Superior, just this? After that he must be fired. To be honest, he faintly feels, putting himself in this matter, isn't that means he's going to be shunned by his colleagues? This is really wasted effort. Just as the sunglasses man is wondering if it's better to be sitting up and observing the other's expression as they talk, or if it's better to continue maintaining this full of sincerity posture while talking, his phone suddenly vibrates. The room was so quiet, Komaeda Nagito also heard it, and said, you answer the phone first, don't mind me. The sunglasses man hesitated for a second, afraid that the superior was looking for him for something, and could only obediently sit up straight, taking out his cell phone and glancing at the display. It was really his superior. The sunglasses man immediately looked apologetically towards Komaeda Nagito, sorry, I'll answer the phone. Komaeda Nagito stood up, I'll go to the kitchen and take a look. Actually, there was nothing to do, he didn't boil water to make coffee and tea or anything, he helped the guest and himself a cup of water, saying that going to the kitchen was giving the other party an excuse. However, this room in the kitchen is half open, even if Komaeda Nagito stays in the kitchen, he can still hear the sunglasses man on the phone in the living room, a constant sound of yes yes yes. Yes, yes, I'm in that special customer's place, right? Ah. That event, this, I only found two, I only know a couple of people who are forced to go gambling to pay debts. There is one suitable person who intentionally killed his wife for the money, but he went to prison, all others who fit the criteria have already been put in a list and submitted several times already, you still want new? But, what? The two people I submitted, one had killed a person, they also went to prison today. Yes, yes, I will try my best to find new people to supplement, sigh. After waiting for a while, Komaeda Nagito returned to the living room. The sunglasses man's eyes can be seen to be a little tired. Work is hard. Komaeda Nagito said politely. The sunglasses man coughed, although wanting to agree, but also did not dare to say anything bad about the company or superiors in front of the customer, so he can only vaguely say, it's okay. Thank you for your concern. But Komaeda Nagito's purpose is not to comfort him, he feels really interested in the topic the sunglasses man and his superiors were talking about. First I have to apologize, the soundproofing is not very good here, I heard your conversation. Komaeda Nagito smiled and asked, so the next question may be a little offensive, may I ask, Yaoi Corporation is searching for people who are in deep despair to conduct some dangerous activities. This rumor, is it true? The sunglasses man blinked alertly, although I do not know where you heard it, but this kind of rumor is obviously false. Ah, actually, I know someone from the port mafia. Komaeda Nagito said. The sunglasses man. So this rumor is indeed true. Komaeda Nagito concluded, if it is false, you should first doubt whether I am really acquainted with the port mafia, because the port mafia is incapable of saying this kind of baseless words to me, and not showing this kind of expression. That means he feels that it's not strange for the port mafia to know this kind of thing. The sunglasses man is really confused, so it is really a port mafia member who told you? No, I only said I know someone from the port mafia, the rumor is heard from other places. Komaeda Nagito honestly said, it was only a test just now. He doesn't need to lie when dealing with this kind of person. Originally, if the sunglasses man does not react, the next step Komaida Nagito is prepared to say that the port mafia member told him the information as a test. The sunglasses man is speechless. Why do you need to know this? Those are all scoundrels, the bottom layer of society, together with the group of poor ghosts who, in order to catch the last ray of hope, will gamble with all they have to participate in this kind of activities. The only one who benefits from this is the underworld gambling ship. This kind of thing should not be something this youth should touch. I ask this because I want to know if I can participate in this activity once. When Komaida Nagito hears the word hope, his gaze becomes scary. A place filled with despair. I really want to go take a look. Chapter 12 End. Author's note. The Sunglasses Man and Tei Corporation in this series is from Kaiji Japanese manga. It doesn't matter if you haven't seen it. Anyway, Jin Jiang, the website, does not allow me to write the original plot. The key word here is gambling ship. Remember that Dazai had said he needs to talk cooperation with this group. Super Lucky Disaster Man. Chapter 13, Fate Calls Me to Travel. The sunglasses man dazedly looked at Komaida Nagito. The teenager's expression, that kind of crazily surging of feeling, made this sunglasses man who stands outside of the law inexplicably feel scared. This. You just want to go take a look? The sunglasses man carefully asked, although there is indeed an observation quota, but they are all left for those famous tycoon figures. I do not have this authority. Even if it is my superior's superior, they also do not have this authority. Only the president and vice president have the right to issue invitations. This answer is within Komaida Nagito's expectations. After all, it is a gray area. It has even possibly entered that dark side of affairs. The invited people need to be trustworthy, or have some kind of value. His insurance fee, although high to make people come to plead for postponement, but it just originates from some selfish person. If they really want to compensate, then it is not a big problem. Therefore his value is still not high enough to enter the ranks of invitation. However, isn't there still other methods? I can be a participant to board the ship, so I am willing to agree to your previous request. Komaida Nagito smiled and said, this nomination, do you have the authority? Just now on the phone, because he couldn't find someone suitable and was worried, the sunglasses man of course cannot refute. But the sunglasses man looked at the Komaida Nagito, who is as big as his own son, hesitated a little, still said something that with his identity as someone who is pleading, somewhat stepping out of bound. I know you kids this age all like to play thrilling things, but this is really not a joke. Once you board the ship you must follow the rules inside. There will be no special treatment because you enter differently from others. The sunglasses man earnestly advised, you are very rich now, but you should also consider your future. Not all losses have insurance that can compensate you. Moreover, gambling, this kind of thing, even if you just want to play in the beginning, but once you're addicted to it then you cannot pull away. I suggest you think more carefully on it again. The man was obviously being ridiculed by him just now. If the man don't agree then he is likely to be scolded by his superior, yet he does not care about their previous grudge but thinking for him instead. Komaida Nagito looked at the sunglasses man, pondered for a few seconds. You really are a good person. Not in a bad way. I just feel that you are not very suitable for this job. You should consider changing your career. No, change company, otherwise you will be very tired. Tei Corporation got to this kind of status. In the future this kind of gray matter will only increase. People who have this kind of mentality will not last long. The sunglasses man bitterly smiled. The adult world is not that simple. If he can get rich overnight, he will definitely resign on the spot. Okay. But the reality is, not to mention that Japan's attitude towards switching companies is not that positive. Tei Corporation's insurance company is already the industry peak domestically. If he switches companies then he can just quit. He will definitely not have a calm day, so he should just endure it. Komaida Nagito just casually mentioned it, not planning to really interfere with other people's work. Hearing the sunglasses man helplessly reply, so he calmly turned the topic back. About postponing my insurance fee, how many days will your superior give you? The sunglasses man immediately said, 10 days is the limit. Komaeda Nagito thought for a moment, is that so? Then return after 10 days. The sunglasses man. Do you need to use the full 10 days to reconsider? No, Komaeda Nagito smiled, I just feel that, maybe you will change your mind after 10 days. Whether or not the sunglasses man will change his mind temporarily is still unclear. After all, Komaeda Nagito's bad luck came very quickly. The next day when he just came to school, he was unfortunately admitted to the infirmary. What happened was very quick and is very coincidental. When Komaeda Nagito went up the stairs, some student upstairs, because they were carrying a plaster statue and could not see the steps under their feet, they accidentally misstepped, lightly let go, the plaster statue immediately flew out, and just happened to stop on Komaeda Nagito's head, who was below, caused him to faint on the spot. When Komaeda Nagito woke up again, he was already in the infirmary. The student who hit Komaeda Nagito was very scared and came to apologize, and insisted on paying Komaeda Nagito's surgery fee. Komaeda Nagito. I think it's not to the extent of surgery. In short, the sincerity was received. Komaeda Nagito is also used to his own luck, and did not blame this junior, said a few words then sent him away. The infirmary nurse is also used to Komaeda coming often due to his misfortune, and calmly gave him a leave of absence. You bled, I checked a little bit for external injuries, your luck is not bad, the wound is not big, I will bandage you up, but to be safe you still should go to the hospital for a checkup. Go home today and rest up. Komaeda Nagito received the leave of absence. Thank you, sensei. No need to thank me, that's right. Tomorrow is the Constitution Day, the day after tomorrow is the Greenery Day, continuous 2 days off, the day after that is Saturday, so in addition to today, you can stay home and rest for 5 days, hope I can see you healthy after the holiday. Thank you for your kind words. Komaeda Nagito took the backpack that he had yet to put in the classroom, holding the nurse's note to find his homeroom teacher. The homeroom teacher silently looked at Komaeda Nagito's pale face and the bandage wrapped around his head, and sighed deeply. Komaeda-kun. The homeroom teacher wanted to say something but stopped, your luck doesn't seem to be very good recently. Ha 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 ha, extremes come with a twist, I believe that my luck will change very soon. Komaeda Nagito laughed indifferently. The homeroom teacher had nothing to say to Komaeda Nagito. After all, based on his observation, Komaeda Nagito's encounters were all unexpected disasters. He said no more to this pure-blood victim, it was useless, it was better to go to the shrine when he is free to pray for this student of his who had many disasters. He just got kidnapped and now encountered this kind of thing, how could this child be so miserable? The homeroom teacher sighed, because Komaeda Nagito's luck was very sad, but Komaeda Nagito himself actually feels fine, even a little excited about this injury. He was excited and thought to himself, ah, if it's just the same as the holiday, might as well go to that Rego Island for a good vacation, I also have not had a vacation for some time. As for what the infirmary nurse told him about going for an examination. Anyway, he felt fine. Let's first take a vacation to recuperate. If he really felt something, he still has time for a checkup when he gets back. Just like that, he had not even entered the classroom door. Komaeda Nagito immediately carried his backpack, with a head of bandage, turned around and went home. When he arrived in front of the house, Komaeda Nagito was looking for the key to the door, when the next door to Ayatsuji's detective office suddenly opened. Ayatsuji Yukito walked a couple out of the door. The detective glanced at Komaeda Nagito, his line of sight focused on the wrapped bandage around the youth's head and stopped for a moment, seeming to want to say something, but held back, turned his head and according to what he had pre-planned, said toward that husband and wife, be careful on your way back. The couple slowly walked downstairs. Komaeda Nagito finally found the key that, for some reason, had fallen to the very bottom, blocked by books, and he was trying to dig out. Ayatsuji Yukito watched the husband and wife figure disappear from sight, then asked Komaeda Nagito, what happened this time? Komaeda Nagito shrugged, hit by a plaster statue. Looks like you require 2 days of rest, just in time for the holidays starting tomorrow. Ayatsuji Yukito knew Komaeda Nagito's family situation. It was a bit tragic. If he accidentally died in the house and no one knew, out of humanitarianism, he casually said, "If you feel uncomfortable anywhere, or need help, just call me." Ah. Speaking halfway, Ayatsuji Yukito frowned. "Sorry, I might not be home these 2 days, so I won't be able to help you." "It doesn't matter, I'm very touched that you have this thought." Komaeda Nagito was really not paying any attention. He smiled and replied, "This bandage looks scary. In fact, it's not that serious, so I don't plan to spend the holiday at home. Recently in the mall, I won a ticket to Reigo Island. I plan to go there for a vacation." Ayatsuji Yukito was stunned. Reigo Island. "That's right, Reigo Island." Komaeda Nagito explained a bit. "It's where that couple's child went missing, you know that." Facing Ayatsuji Yukito's suddenly sharp eyes, Komaeda Nagito embarrassedly smiled. "As I was searching through Reigo Island's information, I saw their interview, so I recognized them." "Ah, so that's it." Ayatsuji Yukito's tone was a little peculiar. "So much said, you actually guessed what commission I received. Finding the truth about their missing child, I guess it's roughly this. Did I make you unhappy?" Komaeda Nagito's expression was a little downhearted as he said, "It's just because I feel like there's a chance to help you, so I took the initiative to mention this, but even if you think I'm meddling in other people's business, it's normal. I was a little smug, finding a cat once and thinking I can become your assistant." Ayatsuji Yukito coldly interrupted Komaeda Nagito, "I'm not angry. How many people are allowed on your ticket?" "2 people. Komaeda Nagito quickly restored his normal attitude. "Bring me with you, then you can achieve your purpose of investigation." Ayatsuji Yukito wanted to know how much Komaeda Nagito had guessed. "Oh." Komaeda Nagito obediently explained, "Before I left the door today, I looked at the news. This matter has become bigger. On the news, there was someone reporting again that their family member went to the island and then went missing, adding up to 2 cases. There is no excuse to say that everyone wanted to escape from society would go to Reigo Island first, so now the police are paying more attention to this matter." Komaeda Nagito continued to say, "Under these kinds of circumstances, willing to still go to the island with these kinds of strange rumors, will not be many. If you have to conduct an investigation, your action will be seen by the criminals. They will think that you're suspicious. But using the ticket as an excuse is different. If they use the ticket, then they can say, although they feel a bit uneasy, but might not be that coincidental. If they don't go, then it's a bit wasteful. This kind of reason to deceive the criminals, moreover bring a wounded minor, the feeling of suspicion is even lower." What Komaeda Nagito thought of, Ayatsuji Yukito of course has also thought of it. But even if what Komaeda Nagito said makes sense, the detective still inexplicably feels a little uncomfortable. The youth's tone is too humble, on the contrary making it seem a little arrogant, causing people to feel very uncomfortable. Ayatsuji Yukito said indifferently, "I can find someone to buy the ticket." When receiving the ticket, in fact, there were registrations. In case the criminals can see the travel group's information, it will be very disadvantageous for you. It's just better to act freely, than intentionally find a person who is similar to you, else the best method is to use me. Komaeda Nagito said happily. Even if it is Komaeda Nagito, it is impossible to guess that the missing person's parents came to entrust Ayatsuji Yukito to solve the case, so these are all reasons he temporarily thought of. Ayatsuji Yukito originally did not plan to refuse, but seeing Komaeda Nagito's logical and discreet rebuttal, he was momentarily speechless. This child is so smart, how can he make his reasons for helping sound so tiresome? Ayatsuji Yukito was rarely seen to have a belly full of remarks he wanted to say. Finally he said, "Then I trouble you to call over there, we will try our best to set off today." "That's great." Komaeda Nagito revealed a bright smile. "Such an incompetent person like me can also be allowed to closely observe and learn how Ayatsuji-sensei majestically solved the case. I am very grateful." Ayatsuji Yukito. Too exaggerated, really too exaggerated compared to any of the previous times. Like this, Not only did he not have the feeling of being encouraged, on the contrary it backfired. A thick-skinned person like him felt nothing but embarrassed awe. In the future, when you're helping someone, if you do not know what to say, you can talk less. 22 years old Ayatsuji Yukito, looking at the 15 years old Komai de Nagito, his always calm state of mind, can't help but feel exhausted after a long time. He even has the feeling of what it's like to be a father. But this neighbor has no father or mother, relying on the school education to live to this age. The result is cultivating this child to have such a strange temperament. He feels that he can still teach common sense, lest later this child kind-heartedly helped people, yet accumulated a bunch of hate. For example, just now, I should thank you, you don't need to thank me in return. Ayatsuji-sensei is really kind-hearted. Komai de Nagito seemed stunned for a moment, but very quickly revealed the same smile. You may unexpectedly be suitable to be a teacher. Ayatsuji Yukito sneered, forget it, I don't have that patience. Go prepare, we'll be going soon. Komai de Nagito obediently listened and opened the door into the house, found the travel contract, and dialed the phone. Not knowing whether the news really affected the situation on the island, or the working hours, the person in charge told Komai de Nagito, they can go to the island in tonight, no need to worry about anything else. Hanging up the phone, Komai de Nagito immediately began to pack his luggage, and quickly dragged the suitcase out the door. Ayatsuji Yukito brought Komai de Nagito along. They took a plane and then switched several cars, to finally arrive at the meeting location, where they can head to Reigo Island via yacht. When Komai de Nagito and Ayatsuji Yukito arrived, there was already a passenger on the yacht. That person has a beautiful blonde hair, their skin a little dark, handsome appearance, looks very much like a mixed blood. Personality also seems to be very friendly. He smiled and greeted the two people, good afternoon, didn't think that there was someone else besides me this time to Reigo Island. I am Amuro Toru. It's a pleasure to meet you. Ayatsuji Yukito pushed on his glasses, concealing his observation gaze, because he's afraid this person was very sensitive to this kind of gaze. Komai de Nayuki, this is my nephew Komai de Nagito. This is the identity they previously discussed. After all, Japan does not have an identity certificate, whatever they're called is still up to what they say. Komai de Nagito cooperated and smiled at Amuro Toru, good afternoon, Amuro-san. Amuro Toru curiously looked at the bandage on Komai de Nagito's head, not to be offended, is your nephew injured? Wouldn't staying at home to recuperate be better? Ayatsuji Yukito naturally said, he can't stay at home, going to a quiet place to travel is considered recuperation. Amuro Toru seemed to have accepted this. But this time it was the yacht sailor who asked, you are really good to your nephew, you even asked for a leave to accompany him to travel. Ayatsuji Yukito's face did not change, I am a novelist, I don't need to ask for a leave, and it just so happened that yesterday's lottery we drew a travel ticket, so it won't be wasteful. Amuro Toru was a little surprised, yesterday's lottery you drew a travel ticket? That's right, at Baika Mall. Komai de Nagito promptly interjected, we originally thought that the opportunity was going to be given to others, but today I was hit by a plaster statue in school, the teacher gave me leave, and since tomorrow is also a holiday, so I decided to go on a trip. So that's it. Are you dizzy while sitting on the yacht? I brought medicine. Amuro Toru asked with a worried expression. Komai de Nagito smiled and said, thank you, but I feel fine. But the blood is seeping out from your bandages. Komai de Nagito. After all, it's a fresh wound, traveling such a long distance during the day, it's no wonder that it opened again, it's really time to change bandages. Finally, Amuro Toru used his own personal first aid kit, skillfully changing the bandage for Komai de Nagito. Ayatsuji Yukito looked at Amuro Toru's movements, suddenly asked, what is Mr. Amuro's job? It looks like you're very familiar with treating wounds. I'm a folklorist. Amuro Toru's answer was a bit unexpected, but didn't have any holes. My teacher told me, in this major, the important thing is to learn to protect yourself. Because we often go to some remote areas, things like falling into jungle traps, being chased away by the locals with sticks, and not knowing how to protect cultural relics among the things. Learning first aid and bandaging are the basics. I also fight very well, and have participated in the marathon organized by the commune. Even if I cannot win, at least I can run away. The yacht sailor was stunned after hearing this, hesitantly asking, "Is researching folklore that dangerous?" "Very dangerous." Amuro Toru showed off his muscles, "See?" After going to study a village's culture, I was almost dissected by the village's cult member as a result, so I practiced like this when I returned. The sailor's expression was shocked. "We Reigo Island has no cult, you can rest assured." "I know, I am heading for the sea demon legend. You are a local, you should have heard of something, right?" "I feel that those missing people are seduced by sea demons." Everyone chatted for the rest of the way, allowing them to understand a little more about each other, and they very quickly arrived at Reigo Island. The yacht sailor brought them to the island inn to register, giving them the room key. Komaeda Nagito and Ayatsuji Yukito stayed in the same room. After they entered, Ayatsuji Yukito immediately took out a scanning tool to scan once, then put it away. No tracking or eavesdropping device, safe. Komaeda Nagito immediately opened his mouth to say, "That graduate student who studies folklore. Very smart." Ayatsuji Yukito seemed to be thinking about something. Not only did he explain his background, why he has those skills, at the same time calmly displaying that he is not easy to provoke, but also give an excuse why he will go around the island later on, because he wanted to investigate this legend on the island. This person took on a good role, in this kind of special time, even if it made people raise suspicion, because he was not easy to provoke, that it was difficult to do anything to him. Under the assumption that the culprit is only one person. "I have already found a suspect," Ayatsuji Yukito said. Komaeda Nagito smiled, "The uncle who was sailing the yacht, right?" Some of his questions were interesting, probably trying to test us." Ayatsuji Yukito opened the luggage. "However, that Amuro Toru also has problems. It is possible that the two are accomplices, one in one out coordinated to test them. It's also possible that Amuro Toru and the mastermind have no relation. He saw that the yacht sailor is suspicious, and conducted a counter-test, but no matter what it is, that is a dangerous character." Ayatsuji Yukito evaluates Amuro Toru. There is not enough information, but there is definitely blood on his hands. His purpose for coming to the island is not simple, still waiting to be observed. Komaeda Nagito is really not expecting it this time, as expected of a professional detective. I thought that he just came here to investigate the missing case." Ayatsuji Yukito did not speak anymore, but fell into his own thoughts. That Amuro Toru. Very strange. It looks like all the other parties' preparations are for investigating the missing incident, but it seems to hide something deeper. Let's first continue to observe. Ayatsuji Yukito looked towards Komaeda Nagito, who was arranging his luggage. "Komaeda-kun." Cough, Nagito-kun. He followed the previous arrangement and lowered his voice. "I'll trouble you to cooperate with me in a moment." Komaeda Nagito smiled. "My honor." Chapter 13 End. Author's note. On the yacht, both saw that the other party had a problem. Amuro Toru and Ayatsuji Yukito were testing each other. The only one unaware was the captain, laughing heartily while listening to fake intel. Amuro Toru, equal Japan Police Fu Ruya Rei, equal undercover in the black organization Bourbon, from Kol Nong. Ayatsuji Yukito is currently still very young, only 22, but inexplicably has a kind of fatherly feeling. Detective, why can this guy help people to the point of making others angry enough to explode? P.S. Ayatsuji Yukito's real name is Uchida Naoyuki, so the fake name is Komaeda Naoyuki. Super Lucky Disaster Man. Chapter 14, An Unfortunate Discovery. Ayatsuji Yukito guessed right, the sailor indeed has a problem. Moreover, he is not the only one with a problem. He also brings 10 locals to have problems with him. That's right, That pair of uncle and nephew, the uncle is a novelist, the nephew is injured and caught up with the holidays, since he just drew the ticket, so they decided to come here to play. The sailor said to his accomplice, as for that blonde, he said that he is a folklorist. He heard rumors about a legendary siren on the island, so came here to take a look, although he looks very skinny, but his body has a lot of muscles. It's just that, is it necessary to train the body to this kind of level for researching? The accomplice searched online for a bit, the corner of his mouth trembled and whispered, for the sake of thesis, folklore scholars now like to go to remote places, intending to find new topics. A certain folklore school has even put martial arts and the long robe into the all-exam category. Everyone. After a moment of awkward silence, one of them opened his mouth and said, "It seems to be very well founded." Found it. Another person said, the Baika Mall's winning registration is indeed called Komai de Nagi To, age 15, should be him. That Amuro Toru had actually arranged for a group of 2 through the travel agency 2 months ago, but don't know why didn't come, he delayed it until now. The time he had arranged, the disappearance had not had any news yet. The sailor was relieved, then they probably didn't come to investigate the disappearance case, right? I also looked at that child's wound, it's really not good. If they want to find a reason to go to the island, they don't need to go to the extent of adding these useless details. The 2 that has the tickets, let's follow the rules and best to leave them alone, to avoid being discovered by the police. That researcher is not that easy to provoke. The sailor immediately said, but he is very rich, I know his watch's brand, and his shirt is also not cheap. When registering I saw his wallet, there were many cards inside. If we can control him, make him transfer money over, we can even rest for a year. But now the police are alert, it's best we temporarily lie low. But folklorists, this kind of profession, according to the data, will often go to remote areas, missing for several months or even several years will not be suspected. This person is really suitable. While these people fiercely discussed whether or not to make a move on a certain researcher, the person concerned was also on the phone. Why are you calling me, Jin? Jin's cold voice rang out from the phone, newbie examination, you're dragging on for too long, bourbon. Ha, don't tell me your paranoia has relapsed, I also have other things to do. Amuro Toru's tone was completely gone from the daytime when he was humorous and gentle, instead carrying a few parts of coldness and aggression. I'm already on Reigo Island, but the police is following him and that group for a case, maybe he'll just go in, even if he passes the examination, we still want to help him escape from prison. This isn't the thing you need to consider. Jin said, do the examination well, don't need to drag it out again, the organization probably hasn't arranged for you so many things, what are things you have to do before? Amuro Toru faked a smile and said, the organization gives me 3 months' time, if I am responsible, then as long as it does not exceed the deadline, when to start it is my freedom, your hand is too long, Jin. Jin is indifferent towards this implied threat, don't let me catch your weakness. Buzzed. The phone hung up. Amuro Toru withdrew the previous intentionally expressed dangerous aura, threw the phone on the bed, and lay down himself. What a nuisance. As a Japan policeman undercovering the organization, Amuro Toru in less than half a year ago handed over an important intelligence to Japan police, successfully prevented the organization from taking action once, but also made Jin suspicious, and recently did not give him any important tasks, even often investigated his whereabouts. This is really annoying. Right now Amuro Toru can only do side tasks like newcomer assessments, and waiting for Jin's side to finish investigating, clear his suspicions before he can return to the inner works. If Jin suspects his whereabouts from a while ago, after investigating further, he will discover that he was actually assisting at Vermouth's side. He knows that saying it outright can reduce Jin's suspicion, but he can't. On one hand he has always maintained a mysterious personality, on the other hand he wants Jin to investigate it himself, so that in the future when he uses the same excuse, Jin will also think that it is the same situation as this time, and will not pursue too diligently. Just that. Can the police be a little faster? Amuro Toru really doesn't want to give the organization any new labor force, especially based on his investigation. The newcomer this time seems to be an ability user. This kind of person in the organization's hands really has multiple lethality. He can't do anything. Jin is staring at him, but maybe I can look forward to that, novelist. If Amuro Toru is really an ordinary person, he won't feel anything wrong with the conversation during the day, but because he is testing the other party, so he can feel the other party also testing him, this proves that the other party has a purpose to came to this island, probably the disappearance case. At first glance, he seems to be a smart person. Hopefully he can smoothly solve the case. Like that, the organization will not have an ability user in their ranks. Amuro Toru decided to say something suspicious tomorrow in front of the criminal group, then stroll around the island, attracting a little bit of their attention, leaving that most likely detective and assistant duo some space and time to investigate. The next day at breakfast, several guests all gathered in the only inn on this island for breakfast. Because Ayatsuji Yukito and Komaeda Nagito are a group tour tickets, so the first day there is also a tour guide to guide them. Ayatsuji Yukito did not refuse. After all, it's just for one day. Refusal might cause suspicion. But actually Amuro Toru intentionally came here to ask the tour guide, where is the painting left by that missing person? I saw it on the news and felt that the scenery is not bad. Can you show me how to get there? Komaeda Nagito and Ayatsuji Yukito glanced at each other, immediately seized the opportunity. The scenery is not bad? I also want to see. If it was just Amuro Toru asking, the tour guide could still refuse, but the guest he is in charge of also asked. The tour guide could only laugh and say, then I will take you there. Several people followed the tour guide, heading towards the coast. Ayatsuji Yukito walked at Komaeda Nagito's side, feeling this wind was a bit stiff, not very comfortable when blowing on the person, so he instinctively looked at Komaeda Nagito's bandaged head. Although Ayatsuji Yukito had not said anything, but Komaeda Nagito still caught his gaze. Uncle is concerned about me? Komaeda Nagito casually asked, still maintaining the persona. The wound should be fine after 2 days. I will go to the hospital to check a bit after we return. Ha ha ha, if it is discovered that I have a brain tumor or something, then it will be interesting. Ayatsuji Yukito. He swallowed back everything he originally wanted to say, feeling that he should not have looked. What's so funny about a brain tumor? The way this child's think is really problematic. Actually speaking, Ayatsuji Yukito and Komaeda Nagito had not been together for a whole day, yet the level of mental fatigue has exceeded a year of accumulation. His speaking habits have even changed because of Komaeda Nagito. For example, last night, he received a phone call from the person who helped him take care of the cat. The other party hesitatingly said to him before hanging up, Ayatsuji, are you okay? You unexpectedly did not mock me today, it feels really out of habit. Ayatsuji Yukito. I also did not know you have this tendency. Oh, when you say it like this, it feels more normal. If there is nothing, then fine, I'll hang up, good night. Ayatsuji Yukito. Komaeda Nagito, this person, is poisonous to this kind of degree, forcefully making Ayatsuji Yukito change his past habit of liking to tease and mock. No other way, Komaeda Nagito either was because of his tone suddenly fell into depression, or had understood his intention, using an extremely exaggerated tone to express a, like me such a small existence is fundamentally not worth your attention, meaning. These two types of reactions, both brought great unease to the young Ayatsuji Yukito, so he had long since seen through that there was no need to pay attention to it, and when talking to Komaeda Nagito, he tried his best to say few words but mean much, not revealing too much of his own emotions, lest he be upset because of the other party's reaction. He regretted it. Ayatsuji Yukito felt that he should not have paid attention to this guy from the beginning. Ah, it's a monkey. Komaeda Nagito noticed the group of people watching the little animal on the tree. The tour guide introduced, it will play pranks, but will not hurt people, very humane. Also please rest assured, if you bring food, you can show it to me, if there is no problem then you can try feeding it. During the tour guide's introduction, that monkey jumped from the tree to the ground, heading towards the back of the group and approached Komai de Nagito. Ah, Murotoru laughed teasingly. Sure enough, is the little child most welcomed by animals? But the next second, that monkey moved quickly and snatched Komai de Nagito's phone that was placed in the back of his pants, turned around and ran. Was slapped in the face in a blink of an eye, Murotoru. The tour guide embarrassedly said, prankster, they will be like that sometimes. I know their lair, I will think of a way to get back. Komai de Nagito did not wait for the tour guide to finish speaking and chased after it. The tour guide saw the direction he's heading, and couldn't sit still. He just arrived and will probably get lost, I'll go find him, you guys stay here and don't move. The tour guide threw down these words and ran after them, leaving behind the ill-intentioned Murotoru and Ayatsuji Yukito, two faces looking at each other. Murotoru asked, isn't he your nephew? Aren't you worried about him? Ayatsuji Yukito ignored this test, turned around and headed towards the direction the two people left. He just discovered, Komai de Nagito did not plan to give chase from the beginning, seeming to feel that if the phone is lost then let it be lost, but he suddenly changed idea. According to his understanding of Komai de Nagito, he thinks Komai de Nagito probably has discovered something. That tour guide clearly also has problems. To prevent any accidents he still ran after them. Okay. Feeling not interested, Murotoru shrugged, I will also go. Komai de Nagito's physical strength is not very good, but was still able to keep up, because this monkey did not directly run away, but ran a few steps, and waited for him. A moment later, Komai de Nagito finally discovered his phone was placed on the ground. He walked over to pick up his phone, looked up towards the monkey on the tree, not too sure and thought. He did not see wrongly, on the neck it seems to have a human necklace hidden in the hair. Saying so, after the monkey snatched the phone, it turned its head to give him a look as if to tell him to catch up, it should not be his illusion. As expected of the world of ability users, the tour guide did not deceive him, this monkey is really humane. It's just that. Komai de Nagito asked in a low voice, you brought me to this place because you want me to see what? The monkey on the tree chirped, but Komai de Nagito did not understand the monkey language, and could only helplessly say, I am not like Tanaka-kun, an ultimate breeder, I'm really not good at interacting with animals. Is there something wrong with this place? Komai de Nagito began to observe, especially the phone on that piece of ground. He half knelt there, his eyes could not see anything, and reached out to touch the soil. Suddenly, a somewhat gloomy voice appeared behind Komai de Nagito. Guest, what are you doing here? Chapter 14 End. Author's note. Murotoru, Ayatsuji Yukito should have discovered something. Ayatsuji Yukito, Murotoru should be investigating. Not expected Komai-de, huh? I seem to have discovered something. Anyway, the original work did not explain the specific situation, it directly said that there are tens or so people involved in the crime, so I made up the rest myself. Simply put, one of them wanted to join the black organization in Conan. Murotoru is here to assess the new bee. Super Lucky Disaster Man. Chapter 15, Messaging with Dazai. Komai de Nagito calmly stood up and turned around. That monkey threw my phone here, I'm checking if it's broken or not. The tour guide standing behind Komai de Nagito quickly looked at the ground that was blocked by Komai de Nagito just now, his eyes eased down. Is that so? Is there anything wrong? Should be fine. Let's go back, your uncle should be anxiously waiting. After speaking, the tour guide led the way, Komai de Nagito followed behind as if thinking about something. It seems that place really had some problems. The tour guide's reaction was really peculiar, but the problem was not serious, otherwise the tour guide would not be at ease so quickly, and there was no other movement. However, it was also a clue, he'll tell Ayatsuji-sensei about this. If it is Ayatsuji-sensei, he can certainly deduct clues that he had not seen, right? Komai de Nagito happiness surges as he looks forward to the detective showcase, a light skipping to his steps as he meets up with the other two people. Ayatsuji Yukito's eyes swept around. How is it? Komaeda Nagito smiled and nodded. I got it back, there is no problem, the monkey really did not hurt people. The tour guide changed the subject. It's good that you're safe, we continue to go to the beach. Ayatsuji Yukito and Komaeda Nagito looked at each other behind the tour guide. Komaeda Nagito gently nodded. Taking in all of these interactions, Amuro Toru smiles unchanged, it's just that his look toward the tour guide becomes more meaningful. At the same time, in one of the inn rooms, the sailor holds the phone to see the message sent by the tour guide. That junior high student, chasing the monkey to our secret room. It doesn't matter. The innkeeper said, we abandoned that secret room last month, it's just a normal warehouse now. Tanaka, don't be impulsive, that doesn't count as evidence at all. A local old man laughed and said, that secret room was built more than 10 years ago during the war, even if the police found it, it has nothing to do with the missing case, the traces are all washed away, they won't know that that place was once a prison. The sailor frowned and said, I think that monkey, should be that college student. Does she still have consciousness? Impossible. A somewhat silent young man opened his mouth and said, perhaps it's just a coincidence, that side originally had a lot of monkeys, after turning into animals, their intelligence will also decrease as low as animals, there's no need to worry at all. The old man treated this young man with a somewhat impolite attitude, because your ability is not good. It would have been better if they maintained their animal appearance after getting turns, but you have to wait a few months for it to stabilize, otherwise they will turn back to human after death, and there are a bunch of conditions needed to be met which are also very troublesome, can't you just work hard to correct these flaws? Grandpa, you don't know what kind of ability it is, this is not something that can be solved by working hard. So you even look down on your grandfather after having an ability? The young man. He took a deep breath, sorry, Grandpa, I will work harder. The young man hatefully resented in his heart. Each of them rely on old age to boss others around, and his grandfather are even jealous of his own grandchild, he really is a scumbag. I am an ability user, the assessment from that famous international underground organization that has alcohol as code name should be easy, wait until I join that organization, I will not mix with these frogs at the bottom of the well anymore. The tour guide brought Ayatsuji Yukito and Komaeda Nagito, along with Amuro Toru who tag along on the island to stroll around, it's until noon that he brought everyone back to the inn. Arriving at the room, Ayatsuji Yukito carefully checked again for any eavesdropping, monitoring or any other methods, then opened his mouth. Did you discover anything? That monkey was wearing a human necklace. Komaeda Nagito said with few words but with much meaning, it is leading the way, taking me to a place I temporarily can't see any problem with, I threw the GPS you give me there. Good job. Ayatsuji Yukito hesitated for a second, still give him a short praise, and also prepares for Komaeda Nagito's spirit pollution. However this time Komaeda Nagito did not come to another round of, I am such a person balabala, but curiously asked, what did you discover? Quickly, let me see the blooming talent. Ayatsuji Yukito, Komaeda Nagito waited for a moment. Ayatsuji Yukito expressionlessly said, I seem to have no obligation to tell you. Komaeda Nagito. After being choked by Komaeda Nagito for a whole day, Ayatsuji Yukito finally choked Komaeda back, now he felt very refreshed, his mood suddenly became much more relaxed. What lost parents since childhood, what relatives are not responsible, what 3 views are skewed from children grow up alone and needing education, Ayatsuji Yukito immediately discovered since the time on the road yesterday, Komaeda Nagito does not need others' help, if he himself does not wanted to change this guy's miraculous logic, then there is no need to interfere in other people's business. This child is different from other orphans, in some aspects to say his spirit is very resilient, even too resilient. They did not rest for long, the inn knocked on the door to make them go down to eat lunch. Compared to breakfast, there are another guest who came down. That guest is a middle-aged female with a really good temperament, looking like a white collar, her drinking coffee appearance says that she very much enjoy the holiday. The female raised her head and looked at the Ayatsuji Yukito who was going downstairs, eyes flashing, but did not have any action, lowered her eyes again, blew on the coffee, and leisurely took a sip. Ayatsuji Yukito line of sight also calmly swept over the newly appeared person, sat at the table edge, waiting for his own lunch. Komaeda Nagito took out the phone, discovered that his mailbox had messages from a stranger. So boring. Does Komaeda-kun have any interesting experience to share a little? Komaeda Nagito thought for a while, replied, Dazai-kun? It's me. The other side quickly replied, I feel like Komaeda-kun can always encounter interesting things, tell me some. Komaeda Nagito did not ask how Dazai-osamu knew his number. If the other party is mafia, then this question does not need to be asked to know the answer. He replied, lucky draw and win a traveling ticket, yesterday at school got a head injury, just happened to encounters these 2 days off, went to Rego Island for a vacation. Really envious of Komaeda-kun. Going out to play during the vacation. This chat content at first glance, ones would think that it was some familiar friends chatting, they absolutely could not guess that the two's meeting time did not exceed 1 hour. Komaeda Nagito, Dazai-kun work does not have vacation. Dazai-osamu, no, the superior is a vicious boss, if he doesn't squeeze everything out from me, he won't let go. Komaeda Nagito, really hard work. Hey! Dazai. Nakahara Chuya who was fighting with the enemy raised his voice to urge, don't play with the phone, do the mission. Dazai-osamu lazily said, Chuya, you should subdue it yourself, I'm very busy right now. Nakahara Chuya's forehead bulged with veins, the most important thing you should be doing right now is to quickly finish this mission, and not play your stupid game. It's not a game. Dazai-osamu retorted, I'm replying to messages. From boss? No, with, a very interesting person. Nakahara Chuya was speechless, in other words, it's from someone who has no relation to the mission, right? Then what are you so rightfully refute for? You have to chat right now. Dazai-osamu yawned, because if I'm bored, I'll fall asleep, so I want to find something to lift my spirits. I'm trying to die suddenly, I've persisted for 3 days without sleep, sleeping now will burn 3 years of firewood in an hour, anyway, a snail should work hard, don't bother so much. Ha! Nakahara Chuya said in disbelief, you brat, say it again. Believe it or not, I'll quit. Anyway, this is originally your mission, it has nothing to do with me, right? You really dare to talk to me like this, you fooled me to the point of being idle. Though saying that, Nakahara Chuya really can't just quit, because those Dazai subordinates who are cooperating with him, are using pleading eyes, as if saying, please, Nakahara-sama, please don't leave. If he didn't involve from the start, it would have been fine, but if he quit halfway through, he inexplicably feels like these big men will cry. Hearing those two people chatting on the battlefield, the enemy's veins also burst out, can you guys change places to chat? Too disrespectful to the enemy. It seems like they still don't recognize who you are, Chuya. Dazai-osamu was pressing the keyboard while not raising his head, the thing has been captured, quickly finish the battle, no need to consider the loss. Enemy. Wait? When did you captured it? Nakahara Chuya laughed ferociously, I can finally let go. Very good, Dazai, you also wash your neck clean and wait. Dazai-osamu seemed to not hear what Nakahara Chuya was saying, he said in a half-hearted manner, sigh, people are on vacation, I can only think of a way to catch my breath, it's really too difficult. Nakahara Chuya. Is this what people say? Your way of catching your breath is tricking me into working for you. Don't I deserve a break too? Moreover, you just said that you persisted in not sleeping for several days because you want sudden death. What was the original sleeping time used for? I sincerely hope that your wish will soon come true. Nakahara Chuya gritted his teeth and said, hurry up and die. Komaeda Nagito, 3 days without sleep. Then you must be very uncomfortable right now. Dazai-osamu, that's right, so quickly say something interesting to lift my spirit, I just need to persist, maybe after a few days I can suddenly die. Komaida nagi to, Dazai-kun want to die? Why? Dazai Osamu held the phone, the movement paused a bit, chuckled softly, really is direct. He was just in a moment of excitement wanting to waste time, but because the others is so direct that he fell into a somewhat strange situation. Dazai Osamu retracted his smile, expressionlessly stared at the screen for a moment, typed a string of words, then slowly deleted, and once again typed. There are many things in the world that are difficult to give it meanings. I want to approach death, doing a test. He pressed send. Komaida Nagito very quickly replied to the message. According to the typing time, he probably did not think about it at all, and directly wrote a reply based on his first reaction. So that's how it is, all the experiences that make you feel death, are helping you explore the value and meaning of existence. Dazai Osamu laughed out loud. Finished the enemy, planning to solve Dazai Osamu, Nakahara Chiyo was frightened. Nakahara Chiyo really rarely saw Dazai Osamu like this. He always had a fake expression on his face. At this moment he actually laughed until one hand held his stomach, one hand wiped the tears that came out from laughing so hard. Hey, Blue Mackerel, what's wrong with you? Nakahara Chiyo asked warily. Ho ho, ha 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 ha, nothing. Dazai Osamu rubbed the corner of his eyes and laughed until tears came out. Because of the laughter, his voice was a little trembling. I'm just confirming a fact. Even if understanding each other is easy to say, people can only understand the same part as themselves. From this aspect, they are indeed very similar. He really hates this point, but can't help but be attracted by it. Chapter 15 end. Author's note. Dazai, approaching death to find the reason to survive. Komaida, in the depths of despair, one can see hope. Because of the logical consensus, Dazai's sentence was actually not very clear, but Komaida quickly understood.